Hello again, and welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Rural Report. I am your Rural 2IC, and today we're going to have kind of a semi headlines. We're just going to talk about a couple of topics, but it's going to be more of a rural talk. I do want to show off a couple of things. I know that some of you absolutely love this. I know some of you couldn't care less, but uh, let me appease some people as well as I enjoy doing this as well. Now, I am in talks with certain somebody, and they actually do a online precious metals auction once a month. I'm going to try and bring them onto the show. I've given the invitation. They are considering it because I do believe that precious metals does hold, some sort of value when it comes to prepping and things like that. And so to bring somebody on to be able to talk about different things, as well as maybe open up the avenues for some of you that are considering trying to find a place to go and buy precious metals. But I did pick up a few things from his auction and I got them in. And let me show you. I did pick up this piece here. I know that I'm going to try and get it to where there's not much of a glare, but this is Japanese World War II money. I love the graphics and everything on this. That right there is just absolutely gorgeous. But cool design. Pick that up. The next one that I have is this one here. Man, there's the glare. Okay, there we go. Look at that. And actually, this circle right here has a piece that if you hold it up to the light, and it's not going to do it on camera, obviously, but look at the detail in this. Just absolutely gorgeous. Um, but there's those are just a few of the things. Now, I did pick up some other things. I won't bore you with everything that I bought. I did end up picking up this thing here. It is actually kind of a neat piece. Let's see if the camera will maybe zoom in on it. Let's see if I can. There we go. Just a little bit of a pour. It's only a quarter ounce, but it's yeah, you'll be able to you get the idea of that one. Let's see if I can actually turn this off for just a moment. So that way, maybe the glare will. There we go. Let's see if the glare will hold off, just so I can show these off. So, eh, somewhat, there's still quite a bit of a glare from all the other lights I have on in the room. There we go. So that is a Bill of Rights, 1 ounce silver round. Man, it's not doing it justice. I apologize. But cool piece. And then the second one, and again, I wish I could do something to where this would actually show the detail of this. That's actually pretty decent. But this is a 1 ounce Patriot round. And again, it's not doing it justice, but it is absolutely a gorgeous, gorgeous piece. Super excited. It's actually probably going to be one of my top favorite pieces for this. And so I just wanted to share that. I do want to make the mention that if I get my light readjusted back, that the Caleb contest is still going on. Remember, there's 3 tiers based on your level of generosity. $1 gets you into the bottom tier. Remember, $1 can get it to where you can win something. Now, as of right now, I still only have 2 people that have entered the contest. There is 3 prizes. So if you are waiting, because it is tomorrow at midnight, is the end of the contest. If you enter and nobody else does, that will be 3 people, 3 prizes. Okay, so you're almost guaranteed to win something. Uh, so we will wait and see. Hopefully, I get bombarded between the making of this video and midnight tomorrow night. But in the interest of looking forward, when we end up doing our Caleb House auction, our friend ended up sending this in, and there's actually more coming on the way. But this one will be a sneak peek. Look at the beautiful colors of all this. Let me open this up so you can see just how pretty that is. See if I can get the angle just right so you can see. the way that the Damascus is. Since this is a sneak peek, maybe that's good enough. But just absolutely gorgeous, beautiful, beautiful piece. We thank the person that is doing this. And again, that will go back into there and that will be set aside because I am going to end up uh, putting some various blades and some other things, as well as we have some other people doing some donations and whatnot. And hopefully that will really benefit and raise up some money. All right, so moving on. So, where do we want to begin? One, I'm sure a lot of you have seen because one of the ones that is going around is the man who set himself on fire outside of the Trump trial. Now, again, this just happened, so there's a lot of speculation and things circling around about this. And I find it interesting that one of the ones that's really, really making its rounds is CNN just happened to be right there. And as it happened, the woman that was standing there, her first words out of her mouth was, "We have an active shooter. Wait, he set himself on fire." So it's quite interesting that when something happened, that was her immediate, this is what's going on. You could hear during what was going on, there were no sounds that sounded like an active shooter or a shot being fired. So I'm not quite sure why that was the first thing to come out. But there you go. We have that. Next is, well, we have the Iran and the Israel piece. Not entirely sure what's going on over there. Uh, there seems to be a lot of speculation. There seems to be a lot of pointing of fingers, a lot of propaganda from both sides, a lot of different things of that nature of this is happening, and then the other side downplays it, and then the other side doesn't want to take credit, or the other side takes way more credit, and there's a lot going on over there. Um, I'm not entirely sure what's going. I can't really make heads or tails of it as of right now. I'm still gathering a lot of information. That's really kind of the reason why I didn't do a video yesterday because of so much going on and the weirdness around it. It was too early to make some calls on that. But to segue, speaking of calls, did you see all the different states that were either fully or somewhat indirectly affected by the outage of 911? Well, that brings into our little bit of a rural talk. So, if you tie all three of these things together, one, you've got an event going on where you cannot get firsthand knowledge. Okay. Now, I'm speaking for most of you. Most of you live in the United States. And so, even if somebody is boots on the ground over there that sent you a video or something like that, or told you they saw it with their own eyes, that's still secondhand information by the time you get it. And so, we're only going to find out what we're going to get told or what we will get shown. Now, that goes into intelligence. You bring into the man that set himself on fire. I'm not a medical expert. Okay, let's just make that completely clear. But in my humble opinion, that is something along the lines of a mental health issue. Usually, no healthy, sane person uh, even considers setting themselves on fire intentionally. Which brings us around to the 911 outage, which is communications. Now, a small side piece. They did have the FBI director come out today, and might even be the CIA as well. But those three-letter agencies said that they now have concrete evidence that China has completely infiltrated our critical infrastructure, and they're just waiting for the right moment to strike. And they listed off some different things like pipelines and some other key sort of infrastructure things. But here we go. So let's take those four. And so if we do a right now, that before SHTF, and you try and check those off for yourself. How's your comms? You know, we're not talking about an SHTF event happen now. What do you use as communication? Do you use just, a phone call? Is it just a cell phone? Do you text message? Do you use Facebook Messenger, Instagram, WhatsApp, Telegram? What do you use in order to communicate? How well is that? The way that things are they encrypted? Can you trust them? Do you have multiple ways, or is one of the people that you talk to, there's only one way to communicate with them? Let's say that there's somebody you've been talking to, you met online, you've never met face to face, but you've known them for quite a few years. You've traded pictures, gone back and forth, helped each other, did this and that and whatever, but you only talk to them on one app. What happens when that app goes down? What happens if they have a problem and it's just that app? Everybody else you can talk to just fine. Now you can't talk to them. You can't get intel. You can't figure out if they're okay. There's a lot to it. So how's your comms before? How's your mental health right now? Is all this that's going on locally, regionally, worldwide, all that, is it all starting to wear on you? Is inflation, the way that things are, the way the prices are going, is it starting to wear? How's your relationship with your friends and your family? How's your relationship with yourself? Are you taking you time? There's a lot into this that you need to really kind of look at and assess for yourself and really be honest with yourself. Now's the time to really do this. So let's move forward to the other ones. So we've looked at mental health check, communications check, and we've looked at kind of an intel check. So let's say that you have an SHTF happen. It goes on. It's right now. You have to run back through all that. What is your plan of action for your communications during an SHTF? And I know that there's going to be people, well, it depends on what the event is, if it's an earthquake or if it's this or that, or okay, I get it. Insert whatever scenario you want here. Insert multiple ones. Are you covered for most of them? If not all of them, most of them. How are you going to communicate with, absolute people that you must communicate? How are you going to communicate with people that's, in your mag or your tribe? How are you going to communicate with friends and family and loved ones that do not believe in all of your prepper nonsense? You know, you still care about them. How are you going to communicate with them? Make sure they're okay. How is your mental health going to be? Do you handle stress well? I mean, during an actual event, you know, not some little we have a deadline or bills coming due or trying to get a project. Not that kind of stress. I'm talking like absolute, really bad, almost wartime. You're in the thick of it. How do you stand up? Now, I'm going to say most people watching this have never experienced that. I personally have come close, but I've been in a lot of simulations. Now, I know those simulations are not the real thing. So, for me to be honest, I'm not entirely 100% positive. I would like to think that my training and different things that I have done through simulations and training and exercises and things like that, that I'll do pretty good. But you never really know until that happens, okay? And you can keep going and going and going on all the different things that we have sat through and touched on through all this. Now, what about after? Okay, so the initial event is done, it's over. We're in the aftermath of it. It's been days, weeks, whatever. How's your mental health? Are you going to be able to move past? Are you going to be able to stay optimistic? Are you going to be able to function? How is your communications afterwards? Let's say that it was an EMP or something like that, and most of your stuff was all electronic and now it doesn't work. You have a backup plan. Are you capable of communication? Are you creative enough to figure out a way of communicating? You know, you can go back into smoke signals. You can laugh all you want, but if it works, it works. And that's the big thing of this. So, one of the things, though, that I do want to touch on real quick, because I don't want this video to be too long, is you have to also know that your place, okay, that kind of hierarchy, because we've talked about this in another video. You need to have what you're going to do to be able to function as a group before an SHTF. You don't want SHTF to happen and then try and figure out who the leader is or how you're going to govern yourselves, okay? You have to have a rules-based order in your group, mag, tribe, whatever. And so the big thing is going to be, let's say that you have a small group of 10, 15, whatever, maybe 15 including some children, and you all agree that Bob is going to be the leader. Bob is ex-military. Bob is physically fit. Bob has, working knowledge of mechanics and medical and some other things, just all around. He's a good leader. He has experience in leadership. He's very bright, intelligent, knows how to speak and get things done and all that. Hands down, everybody goes, yep, Bob's in charge. Okay. What happens if during an SHTF, Bob just can't do it mentally? Okay. Bob just snaps. No, he's done. Okay. Are you prepared to step up? You know, let's even go into a different way of looking at this. Not everybody is going to form a mag. Let's just say that it is a husband, a wife, and two kids, and maybe the neighbor across the street or whatever. They're elderly or this or that, or maybe a younger single mom or something. And let's say that one that the dad or the father or head of the whatever you want to call it, he's leading. He gets everybody safely through the event. We're in the aftermath, but all the stress of having so much weight on him, he just snaps. If everybody starts kind of looking at you, are you prepared to step up, even just for a little bit? Let's just say it's not permanently. Let's just say that you need to fill that role. Are you prepared to step up? Now, we talk about preparedness. We prep food and water and medical and all that. Are you prepared to lead? There's a lot of people that do not consider that. Now, leadership can be taught to a certain extent. There's a lot of people that are born, in my belief, okay, my opinion, they're natural born leaders, kind of like, people that they're just natural athletes or, they're born with that radio voice or whatever it is. There's natural born leaders, I believe. Doesn't mean that they're perfect. Okay. So something happens and all of a sudden there's a void in your preparedness. Are you prepping to fill that void? Can you do it? Do you have everything that it takes to make the tough decision? I've talked to people after putting out that last video where, they said that, they sat down and they were going to run it as kind of like a democracy sort of a thing, that they were going to make it to where, a couple of people were going to come together as kind of a group. They were going to discuss things and vote on it. And then that's how decisions were going to be made. The only thing is, though, is every once in a while, there's a decision that doesn't warrant that. You have 5 minutes to make a decision. You don't have time to round everybody up and discuss things and do all that. You need that leader that can make that snap decision for everybody, that has everybody's best interest at heart, that puts everybody's interest above their own, that they're not selfish and trying to get gain out of anything. They're just trying to do the best thing that can out of that. They're trying to get the best possible outcome. And so I tried to point out some other things. Now, keep in mind, I'm not saying anything is perfect. I'm not saying that I know everything because I certainly don't. I'm not saying that there's a right way and a wrong way. I just want everybody to be able to see things from a different point of view so that way you're not going to be surprised. You're not going to go into it and think that your idea or your method is 100% perfect. And so they basically said that they were going to do kind of like one person from each family was going to be a representative and they were going to come in and that's how they were going to do it. Each representative would be representative of the family. And so that's how they would get together and discuss and cast a vote. The only problem is, and this is what I told them, disagree, agree, let me know down in the comments, okay? Is they were going to go by mob rule. Okay, so let's go with there's 10 families. So you have 10 people up there, and they're all coming together, and they go, okay, it's time to come and vote on what our main food source is, what our main crop, what we're going to put in the ground that's going to be the biggest, 80% of what we're going to grow. And the first person stands up and says, I think that we should grow peanuts. And everybody starts kind of, okay, okay. And he's going on, oh, it's a protein source. If we can't fish or hunt or do different things, we're getting protein and it keeps really well. And you can do so many things and you can roast and make peanut butter and this and that. And, well, you start winning the hearts and minds. Everybody's, okay, okay, yeah, that's good, that's good. Until there's a guy in the back that stands up and says, well, wait, my wife and my kid is highly allergic. If they're even around it, they'll die. The same thing with the other little girl over there, your kid. Well, they start looking around and they take a vote. Well, all of a sudden they got 8 yeses and 2 nos. Well, 8 is more than 2, 8 wins. Mob rules. Even though you have a little bit of representation, sorry. So I know that's a little bit of a silly look on it. I know, there's probably somebody that's going to keyboard warrior and say how dumb that is. I get it. I put it way out there so that way it's just a thought exercise. But it gives you a little bit of a thing, you know, just because it's near and dear to you, just because it's important to you, just because it might be life and death for you, doesn't mean that the other people that's voting cares. Okay? Maybe that peanut, the way that it's going to provide protein, it's easy, it's good for you, all this stuff, it's easy to keep and all this. Maybe that is more important, well, sorry, we're just going to have to sacrifice. Maybe we'll grow some lettuce and you guys can just eat that, so make sure that you understand everything that goes on. Make sure that you put some rules and different things before before SHTF comes in, because these are ugly, ugly truths that a lot of people do not consider. And so I want to make sure that you're aware. I want to make sure that you're thinking of everything. Don't be afraid to think outside the box and question. And really, if we go back, and I'll end with this, there was back in, I want to say Roman times, but I'm not 100%. So we'll go back into an ancient time. There was a guy that his job was to be the guy that disagrees. If somebody came in and presented an idea and they started going down the row and everybody said yes, 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 and they started going to it, his job at the very end of the line was to say no and to try and argue it to see if it really was a good idea, or if maybe people were just blindly voting. I don't really want to be here. Yeah, just get it out of the way. Or I don't understand what's going on, so I'm just going to say yes like everybody else, or whatever the reason. Okay. Sometimes you have to be that person to go, you know what? Maybe we need to take a step back. Maybe we need to look at a different way of this. Maybe we do need that person that doesn't think exactly like us. Maybe we need to have that person that's going to stand up and say, no, this is why. So that way we can take a step back and make sure that it actually is the right decision, that it does benefit the people, that it's not some selfish game. It's not a thing of, wow, peanuts are my absolute favorite, so I don't care what anybody else says, it's going to happen. Maybe we need to take a step back and actually have somebody go, no. So that way we can go, I didn't think about that. There are people, just because I'm not allergic doesn't mean that somebody else may not have an allergy. So uh, I'm going to end with that one. So, guess what? If you made it to this far in the video, you rock. I appreciate you. Thank you for spending a little bit of your time with me. We will be back hopefully tomorrow. We've got some family coming in this weekend, but I should be able to really do some fun content and some other things. Uh, but I will remind you again of the Caleb House contest. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please go back and check that video out. It ends tomorrow at midnight. And then from there, we got some other fun things to do. So uh, I'm going to say stay tuned, that there's definitely more information to come. God bless each and every one of you. And say it with me now above everything else. Please remember to remain united because we're all prepping in this together.